the Havertz claim that you make, Fabio, I'm always gonna say it. This guy is a German international. He's going to score goals because every squirrel will eventually find a nut. But he's not gonna take us to the promised land.
Arteta is allergic to creative attacking players. He's got more and more David Moyes than he does Pep and Arsene Wenger. Santi Cazorla, Ozil, Arshavin, Rosicky, Aaron Ramsey, Jack Wilshere. How many creative midfielder players did we? Now, we have one. And when he's injured, our season is done. That's the general question first, just to get us going, and then we'll get it deep into Arsenal. Give me like two football players, they don't need to play for Arsenal, two of your favorite players ever, and let me know why.
First off, I'm an Arsenal supporter because back in the day, I'm used to like the style of play. They had flair to the game, especially like a player like Thierry Henry. When you saw him on the ball, you just knew something was going to go down. I am an average football player that just watches the game. I'm not really about tactics. I don't want to know philosophies and so forth. If they play well, and we can see that the players are playing well. The other person that I think for me was the best player that I saw play for Arsenal was Alexis Sanchez, because you just knew he was about to do something. That guy, once he got it on the wing, he was a fair player. If I go from the world, I watched Ronaldinho. I liked his play.
Man, Arsenal supporter, I think, since 96, 97. And that's actually because of Dennis Bergkamp. I sometimes rewatch some of his goals. I think another one would definitely be Ronaldinho. Flair, excitement. You just don't know what he's gonna do in a game. I like a style of player that takes the initiative. And I think if there was a third, I think definitely Thierry Henry is like God status. But I think when we admire footballers, we tend to look at things like, can they sort out a game? If they have the ball, are they gonna make that difference? If it's 1-1, what are the chances they make it 2-1? You could bet your entire house or car on it. So exciting players like that. And just to sneak another one in, I think one of the players, although he played for a rival team, I really like Didier Drogba, actually. Just because of, he, again, explosive, puts the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. So, yeah, Bergkamp, Ronaldinho, and from an African side of things, I would add Didier. I was thinking Eto'o, but I don't know. Out of the two, for me, Drogba was just, and he used to kill us as well when we played Chelsea.
When you said Drogba, I already had nightmares, man. I have nightmares of Drogba scoring that goal that he scored against us so many times. But I'm going to forgive you because he played for Marseille. Drogba played for Marseille. So I'm going to see Drogba from Marseille, not from Chelsea. Then you'll forgive it. And what about two managers that for you liked? If there is, let me hear you.
Managers, Wenger, even though, I just have something very sentimental to Wenger just because he made me love football, so he gave me some great memories, but also some bad ones, like it's a love-hate situation. So definitely, Arsene Wenger, another coach. And I base this on the type of football that his teams would play. Would actually be Jurgen Klopp. I just really like his style of football, what he did with Dortmund and also what he did with Liverpool, of course. It was always a nightmare to play against them as well. It's just, I really like the pace and just like relentless attacking. Go, 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 go. I'm not a big fan of the Italian defensive. I've got a lot of respect for Mourinho and a lot of these managers, but yeah, for me, it's more of a if you're not scoring goals, what are you doing? So, yeah.
Yes, Wenger, obviously, at the time when I started watching, he was the coach. You've seen his awards, how much he's accomplished. Yeah, I mean, are the only team to go, unbeaten in the season. Still, great feat. I mean, you can't top that. It's something that we will always hold. And one of the things he also did was give a lot of people chances, especially for us, Africans. He took a chance on a lot of the black players coming through the game. So I'll always respect him for that. Jurgen Klopp, not an Arsenal coach, but yeah, for me, I'll always hit home that it might not be the popular opinion, but it has to be entertaining. That's why we watch the game. And a lot of, this pragmatic approach sometimes just kills the joy out of the game. But I think at the time that these guys burst onto the scene, they brought players that came with pace. Wasn't really much of defense. It was just rock and roll. Even their defenses, players put forward, bomb forward. So yeah, that's entertaining for me. I mean, whether that's the best way to go, not so sure, but they won titles playing that way. So I can agree with Ake on that. But yeah, for me, I think I'll always say Wenger is number one.
Also, one thing you said about Arsene Wenger and black players, specifically players from Africa, even when he was in Monaco. So George Weah was the first African Ballon d'Or. The truth is actually a Mozambican was the first African to win the Ballon d'Or in the 60s, that Eusebio. But since he had the Portuguese passports, we'll say he was Portuguese, but he was ours, Mozambican. But besides that was George Weah in the 90s. I said that Arsene Wenger is the reason he won the Ballon d'Or and improved it. But now, how do we go from Arsene Wenger, the football that we had, and the mistakes that we had, to Unai Emery and then Arteta? How do you guys feel about current Arsenal? Where are we, man? How's it going?
I'm going to let Bill start in that one.
The decline of should have left after the FA Cup, just won the FA Cup, and we just thought I thought it was his time to go. But he stayed on. His tactics, always not making subs at the right time, sticking with the same players. It just cost them at the end. And I think the fan base started to turn, media started to turn, but I think it was also just around the time where like the YouTube podcasters and AFTVs were coming out. So that was also just making things even worse, because I think before you could get away when there was only, in the Times or the Mirror Football, like a handful of newspaper, what's called printing companies could write pieces on you and you could get away from it. But once people started to explode and go on YouTubes and so forth, it gave traction because it gave us a voice. I mean, we here doing the Last No podcast because we can do it now. We also have a voice and an opinion. So I think he just needed to go, and yeah, it was a shame that he essentially got pushed out, but he did need to go. Unai Emery, when he came, I like Unai. The truth is, I did like him. I think he should have been given a bit more time, and I can say that now because look at what he's doing with Villa. He's got no pressure. He was always going to be under pressure coming from 20-year tenure that Wenger came from, and being expected to, you know, kind of changed the whole culture. The odds were against him, in my opinion, and he got pushed out. Arteta came in. He could have had high profile. Everybody wanted, Ancelotti. Some people even wanted Mourinho at the time. And also, it was kind of like, okay, we're kind of in a rut. We need to start this project over. And they took a chance on him. Good call. I think the first 9 years were horrible, but we stuck with it. I think, as I said, it was the safe bet. It wouldn't have made sense to have fired him and then brought somebody else. That's not doing what Tottenham is right now. They just changing. They don't even know where they want to go, but they stuck with him. And I think the results are paying off. For me, I'm happy with where we are with Arteta. Could it be better? Of course, because we all seeking titles, but coming from where we were 5 years ago to now, yeah, I'm glad that we're back competing. We're there. We're there. So yeah, I'm happy with where we are right now.
Just to add in there that yeah, it was always going to be hard for someone like Unai Emery to come in and to be the first guy after someone that's been there for many years and as basically is part of the club. The club's name is even similar to his name. So, the pressure was always going to be there in every game and every press conference. Couldn't speak the language. His English is way better now at Villa than it used to be when he started with us. So there was also that factor. And I think that we were just a club that, lost its father and, as kind of went into the world, not having an identity again. It needed a kick in the backside. Luckily for us, we actually managed to identify that early. We didn't go through managers and transfers, money being spent on mediocre players. And everyone laughed at us, everyone laughed at us, like getting rid of Unai Emery, coming in with a coach with no experience and all of that. I'm sure you guys remember. And I've got to give Arteta big credit because when he came in, yes, some people say he won FA Cup with Emery's team, or at least some of those players, and also the tactics that he was using. If you guys remember, 3 at the back, and that he did what he had to do to win with the players that he had. So I got to give him credit for that, and I've got to give him credit that it was COVID. New manager, new team, these pressures, and you've got COVID happening on top of that. Limits on what you can do with players, shifting them in, shifting them out, dealing with Ozil, dealing with Aubameyang, discipline issues, all of this. I mean, we've come a long way. We've come a long, long way. I think that sometimes you got to look at yourself and you look at where other teams are and actually, be grateful that you have a team that's winning. You have a team that's in the Champions League that's competing again from where we were. And, we were getting hammered 3-0 against like the Fulhams, Brentfords and so forth. And now they fear us, they fear us so much that there are pundits that are saying things that don't even make sense anymore because they have nothing else to say.
I don't want to get talking a lot about Unai because that ship has already sailed and so forth. Remember when he did come in, he was, the reports that were coming, like, he wanted some players. For example, he didn't want Pepe. And what's the name?
He wanted Zaha.
Wilfried Zaha,
they blocked him. They blocked him. Who was the sporting director? Was Raul Sanei at the time that was doing that deals.
Oof.
So that's why I say that the odds were against him. Because if he's coming in to handle with that pressure of the Wenger that you say, and automatically you're trying to manage the team, but you're getting red tape. You can't really maneuver. Do you get what I mean?
It's so cool for me to hear your guys' perspectives because for me, I think I was so obsessed with Wenger that when Unai Emery came, I hated him. Now I recognize that I was wrong. When Arteta came, I was like, no. And every unpopular decision that Arteta has made has actually proven to be the right decision. So now I have mad respect for Arteta. When he came, I was still like comparing him to Arsene Wenger. So for me, like every time I watched Arsene Wenger's teams, were so creative and open, and Wenger used to be quiet and let the team play. And for me, I remember Arteta in the beginning, he's still a bit like that. He's like almost on the pitch. But during COVID season, you could almost hear him tell him like, pass to this guy, pass to that. He was very like structured and controlling. So I used to actually not like Arteta, but I was like, I have to give him a chance. And then when he got rid of Ozil was one of my favorite players. I was annoyed when he got rid of Aubameyang. But actually, he was right. In retrospect, now when I look at it, that's why he's paid the big bucks. That's why he's the coach. And even getting Kai Havertz, I was like, what is he doing? And actually, Havertz has actually been a surprising good player for us. So I must say, like now, I really support.
Look at Bill's face while he said that.
It's like
he couldn't hide. He couldn't hide.
No,
I hate it. Tell me, man.
No, look, from what you're describing about Arteta, everything is positive. But what I just needed to say is that the leeway and the confidence that is given to Arteta, Emery didn't get that. Unai didn't get that. If Unai had gone and said, get rid of Ozil, you would have been blocked. If he had gone and said, get rid of Aubameyang, he would have been what? Arteta did that. No one batted an eyelid. Now we're saying he's a genius and so forth. But that didn't apply to Unai.
A lot of things played in favor of Arteta. I agree with you, Bill. That it's almost like if Unai had those chances, maybe it would have been a different story for him, and maybe he could still be our manager right now or not. You know, football, that's the thing. It's like you're doing well a couple of months and then you go 10 games without winning.
Yeah, I think we're setting ourselves for a dangerous precedent because this guy came being first team head coach. In 6 months, he was the manager now. And in those 2-3 years, we were shit. We came back, I think, to sixth or whatever. We were shit. Eighth position is not what Arsenal should be. But they gave him a lot of leeway on that. And
a certain part of me agrees with you, as in, you got to be very cautious on certain, you know, we going into Wenger 2.0, you know, sort of thing. But I think, let me put it this way. Last season, for me, reason why we're not doing well this season is because of last season. Is because last season, it almost kind of like broke us that we didn't win, if I'm being honest. And we should have won. I really think that a lot of the effort, the transfers as well, what we did in the summer, all of that together with the fact that these guys are playing a lot of football, intensive games, international games. But I also kind of feel that we needed a marquee signing. We needed like a top striker to build up the morale of every single player and staff and be like, holy shit, like this is next level now.
Sorry,
yeah,
you're saying we needed a marquee signing, right?
Yeah,
and who did we get?
That
who did we get?
striker.
Who did we get? Sterling
No, but seriously,
on loan.
Sterling on loan. Yeah, that for me, that psychologically, it's as important, you know? And I think the fact that Man City, Pep Guardiola's Pep Guardiola, but I really think that a marquee signing not only would have pushed us from a morale point of view and actually from a, listen guys, we can do it now. Like we've got our goal scorer that, you know, sometimes it can be Havertz in some games. Sometimes this guy will come in the second half and resolver, you know, like sort it out. You know, like we're talking about these players, Bergkamps and Ronaldinho, the guy that will just come in and sort it out, you know,
so,
done.
I want to come in here quickly, but I just want to be honest with you guys. And Arteta is allergic to creative attacking players, right? I think that he's got more and more David Moyes than he does Pep and Arsene Wenger. Like, I see what he got from Pep, the control. I wish, did he learn nothing from Arsene Wenger? Because he never talks about like what he learned from Arsene Wenger, right? I feel like maybe he was like this guy because he came at the end when Arsene Wenger's team wasn't doing well. Remember Arteta, like we signed him when we had that really crappy time, and then we signed him on deadline day with a bunch of players. And we're hearing a lot of reports now that during that time, Arsene was like not really challenging the players, and Arteta was the one locking them in a room and like telling them, guys, what are we doing? We need to be better, whatever. So I feel like maybe Arteta, like, I don't know if he's allergic to the good stuff that Arsene Wenger was doing, but for me, I feel like Arsene Wenger used to buy so many creative players. Santi Cazorla, you've got right there behind you, right? Santi Cazorla, Ozil, Arshavin, Rosicky, Aaron Ramsey, Jack Wilshere. How many creative midfield players did we have? There was like the club in the world with the most creative midfield players. Now we have one. And when he's injured, our season is done. And he just buys central defenders. Like, why? What is going on?
Yeah.
And that's where I have a problem with that. Now, listen, I have to try to jump in on this. You mentioned last year. I even go the year before that. Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko signings, they catapulted our team. They did. We overexceeded.
No doubt.
Overexceeded. We lost the title, we can say, quote unquote, because Saliba got injured. We can say that. But we were up to it. Okay, let's put again. Last year, who did we sign? Havertz? Okay, I'm not saying Havertz isn't a good player, but I don't look at Havertz like he's going to take us to the promised land. I don't. I'm sorry. All those, he's a space invader. That, well, man, I only watch what I see on the team. He's going to score goals because that's what he's paid to do. He's the highest earner in our team. But I don't look at him as being that marquee player or marquee signing. He came in last year to fill the void, Arteta said, of left eight that Granit Xhaka had left. But before Xhaka had left his final year, man, he was balling. He fucking balled.
Yeah.
Sorry for my
Yeah.
language, but he balled. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just wanted to upgrade on certain positions. He went and got Havertz, hadn't scored in the first, like 15 games or something like that. And really also went through a bad patch. For me, my gripe, sorry, H, you talked about how the players are getting overworked and so forth. I can't use that as an excuse because every other team is dealing with it. If you have marquee signings, which would be like the Man City, we are in the same category, in my opinion, as them. So we can't use that as an excuse because they're all playing games as well. Some of them got picked, some of them didn't. My gripe is with transfers, and I think that we got it wrong last year, and I think we got it wrong this year. Taking away the defensive problems that we have, we only bought this year. If we should have been building on what the success of last year, we came close. We tapped the bend. We did last year. We shot the bend. There's no way around it. But okay, let's go again. Everybody fired up. You get Calafiori. Really? Okay. You get Marino. You get Neto. We haven't even seen Neto play because he's halftime. Good number two or whatever, just a number two. We get Sterling, deadline day, which nobody could have said. When we were approaching, even 2 days before, we weren't talking Sterling. But yes, after we got linked, it's, oh yeah, well, he's not doing anything. But we can't really trap on him because he's a loanee. But if we had bought him, the uproar would have been something else because we're not really paying a lot for wages. And on top of that, even if he's playing like dog as he is, he's going to go back. And it's, I don't know if there's even a clause that we can cut him in January. Hypothetically, if that's what we wanted to do, we could do it. But we had from the end of May till September to figure out who was going to be our striker. Everybody was everyone was on the line. Osterman was there. We could have gotten Sesko. Okay, he didn't want to come, but you could have gotten somebody. You could have had Jokeris, but nobody wanted to pull the plug. And for me, who didn't pull the trigger was the coach, the manager. Because tomorrow, I'm sure if we read articles that will be coming out from Edu, a sporting director is the one that has to say, my man, this is what I want. You need to coach these players, but we need, because that's what everyone is calling for. And you can see it now. Where are our goals coming from? They're getting dried up. We're not playing well. We don't have somebody that is putting goals into the back of the net. And for me, that starts with transfers. The lack of transfers and the lack of direction that we chose to go. This situation was caused because there was no planner, which for me is absurd because we just had to continue doing what we were doing last year and just fine tune some of the things. But what we did, players that I mentioned, Marino, Calafiori, can you tell me that those guys are starters? They're not. We cannot say the money wasn't there. We just got back to back to back Champions League revenues are up. Come on.
I am actually, the fact that Edu is going and that now we linked to Luis Campos, I'm happy because there's no way that Arteta is going to bust Luis Campos. Do you know what I mean? Like, Luis Campos has done what he's done with Monaco, with Lille, and now with PSG. You saw that he arrived at PSG and he told Nasser El-Khelaifi, the chairman of PSG, who loves to buy star players, he told him, yo, finish this bling bling, change. Have you seen PSG's team? I know we beat them 2-0. So people are probably thinking, PSG is like fallen. But PSG is building a super team. For me, if Luis Campos comes to Arsenal, I will believe that this team can win the title. If it doesn't, and we go for I don't know who, we find some shortcuts. I don't know, man. I feel like the sporting director has to cover all of Arteta's weaknesses because Arteta is a really strong coach and he likes certain players. We need a sporting director that can show him, hey, but you're missing this. We need to push this. I disagree with you, though, about Calafiori because I think Calafiori is a baller. I just think that he's injury prone. To be honest, I think no matter who we buy, who plays in that left back position for Arsenal, we cursed. I feel like there's a curse there, man. Kieran Tierney, blonde Japanese, Tomiyasu. Who else? Timber came in preseason last season, looked our best player in preseason. First Community Shield, first game of the season, got injured for the season, right? Now we get Calafiori. I feel like no matter who we get for that position, Zinchenko, doesn't matter, guys. You can go buy a guy who's never been injured. He's going to arrive, play 2 games for us in that left back position. He's going to get injured. But I think Calafiori has potential. I got a Merino. Oh my God. I literally, if we had picked any other midfielder from the Spanish national team during the Euros, any other player, I would have been happy with that team. We literally picked the one player that I don't see it. But you know what? I'm going to have to trust Arteta on this. I didn't see it with Havertz. He was right. And I have to trust him. But hey, man, I just want people who can pass the ball forward. I don't even know why we don't play Zinchenko there. Like, I'm confused, you know? I don't know if you guys have been seeing how we attack. We try to score with 45 crosses. Hey, man, we play.
Yeah, it's. I agree with you. I think Calafiori is a baller. I agree with Merino. Like, okay, but time will tell. You know, time will tell. And to be honest, like, I can't really criticize those 2 players right now, or Neto, because I don't even know if he's actually played a game for us. But
No.
just he hasn't, right? Yeah, it's just because like it. Look, not even halfway through the season, and we're having like a weird season and so forth. I'll judge them at the end of the season and see how the stats run, what influence they had, and if any. You know, the fact is, something that all of us can agree on for sure is that the transfer window was a failure, and not a failure because of these players that we got. It's just there was things missing, and also Sterling on loan. Come on, you know, I think. Yeah, no, that you know, that was if panic buys had a ranking, that was like the worst of panic buys that you could do. So yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's like, I agree with you. Like, whoever comes in to replace Edu needs to, and I like the way you put it there, needs to fill in the weaknesses that Arteta has, because we all know Arteta's got, his ceiling is very high. You know, if Arteta was to leave now, Arsenal, even Real Madrid will come in for him. You know, his ceiling is so high. We've got a gem in the manager. For them taking the risk on him, he's proven. I believe in the manager. You know, I still do. But obviously, you know, when it comes to these things, it's not a straight line. It's not like a straight line. You're gonna build this team and you're gonna win and etc. So I think for us, where my biggest fear is, we play dog shit with, sorry, excuse my language, but we play dog shit without Odegaard, you know, and I take my hat off to the captain, man. Like, you know, coming back against Chelsea, you know, first game, I don't know how, it's been 2 months, and to put in that performance that he did, I mean, come on. And, you know, without him, I think we were looking at fighting for top 4, not even the title. Like, we were starting, you know, and we've got a good run of games coming up now where, and him fully fit, he can really like get the front line going again. Saka, Havertz, those guys, because, you know, our biggest problem as well is that we're not scoring goals. Just to come back, I think I look at like Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson and what they're doing at Fulham, and I'm starting to wonder, like, could we have used them? You know, especially now that like Odegaard was injured. You know, Ranieri is another topic altogether. Should he be getting more time? Possibly. I really like him, and you know, the times I've seen him play, the composure that he has, he seems unbothered by the occasion. And, you know, you've got a gem and a talent. You know, it was the same thing when Saka was starting out. You know, he would touch the ball and he would just go, you know, and you would know, like, hey, this kid has got something, you know. And that's the way I feel as well about Ranieri. And, you know, the other topic is around, does Arteta trust the young guys, the young kids? I don't think enough. I wish he did more like Wenger used to, because that's how you discover them, right? That's how you discover them, and that's also how you save quite a lot of money in the transfer kitty. We've got to, again, coming back to Emery, we've got to take our hat off to him, because him and Ljungberg kind of put Saka on the map. Would Saka have gotten those chances with Arteta? I don't know. Same with Martinelli to a certain extent as well. It was under Unai Emery, so I think he's got to trust the youth a bit more. This season feels like and I don't know if it's the injuries, and I don't want to use the injuries as an excuse, but this season feels like we've been accustomed to a certain system, and we're so structured that when that one piece is now gone in Odegaard, it's like complete average, like don't know what to do. How do we attack? But I pass the ball to you, and okay, do I pass it back? And do I run with you? Do I press with you? It seems like a little bit confusing. So what we end up doing is just passing to the side, passing to Saka, pass to the side, I don't know if you guys have been seeing that.
Can you think?
Exactly. And I just look at the way Pep I remember that one season where I don't know who it was that got injured at Man City, and I think John Stones came into midfield and it reinvented like the entire, and I think they went on. Did they win the Champions League? Was that the Champions League season? I can't remember, but
yeah,
risk a little. That's all I'm saying. And in the beginning of the season, I think you can do that. It's different if we're like in March, April. Then okay, I understand, like defense, dog shit, get a result because you're in the business end. But I mean, in the beginning of the season, kind of, and risk a little, play the kids.
We were so close last year. We had to bring in pieces that were automatically gonna, hit the ground running. Can you say Calafiori and Marino were gonna be automatic starters? In my opinion, no, because he wasn't gonna dispel Timber.
I think we got Calafiori to be a starter, man. I think Arteta wasn't happy with the left side. And I think we got Calafiori almost as a replacement for Kiwior, because I think like he's probably going to go at some point, and Calafiori can play as both.
I think Timber and White have to fight for
that position.
Right back.
And at the same time, Arteta was covering himself in case Saliba at some point goes, then one of those two can shift. Like, I think he's like thinking, I just wish he would do the same thing with our attack. The same way he's thinking about the defense and is bringing all these options. I wish he was doing that with our forward line.
Yeah.
Given what's happened, what's a good season for you in terms of points and cups and Champions League?
I think this team needs to start tasting some sort of success, some sort of silverware. We're good enough to win a cup. We can beat any team in the league in English football. So in terms of the English cups, for sure. Champions League, I don't think so. It's just, even this new format, it's heavy. To get to the quarterfinal for me would be a minimum, like sort of like, okay, we made it there. If we win that to go to semifinal, whoa, fantastic, but if not, and we've got a very hard opponent, then it will also depend on the performance, how we do in those games. Even if we lose it, how was the performance, that kind of thing. But league depends on other factors, doesn't depend on us anymore. It's, as you can see, I think Liverpool will have injuries. There's no way they're going to go through the season without they haven't got any injuries.
Alisson did.
Yeah, but their number 2 is actually good, Keller. And he's been doing really well for a while. Like, he's been a good deputy to Alisson. So I don't really see that as a big loss for them, the keeper situation. I think I'm talking about the Salahs and the Luis Diaz and the McAllisters, those kind of injuries, which can affect the way that they play, the way they attack, the Van Dijks or the
I was going to say Van Dijk.
Van Dijk and Konate are killing it, man. They're better than Saliba and Gabriel right now, for sure. I'm saying right now. I think Gabriel and Saliba were on this form last season. Now we're leaking a lot of goals, which is also a bit concerning. I don't know what that could be. Maybe it's the changes of the left back and right back, and the line is being changed a lot. That could also be why we're not handling that too well. But I think that, Konate and Van Dijk are so far like probably the 2 best in world football Like that partnership is incredible, man. We struggled
Fire, man.
against them in our home game against them. We struggled. We did get past them, but I mean, it was not easy. So the league, I think the league is Liverpool's to lose, if I'm being honest.
For sure. 100.
I think City will keep up because it's City, you know. It's Pep. They will keep up. I would like us to try and keep up as well. I mean, I say that because I would love to at least get second or third, you know, if that's the case, and not be in that trap of like, you know, fourth, fifth, trying to get Champions League. You don't want to be in that dogfight because it's going to be a dogfight between Newcastle, Chelsea, Man
Aston Villa.
United. Man United are going to come good now with Amorim. He's going to get them playing well. Aston Villa, yeah. Man, you've got Nottingham Forest in there, man.
Yeah,
and Brighton possibly. You know, you've got those guys going for Europa League. So, yeah, it's a dogfight. And you don't want to be in that dogfight. You know, you want to be a bit clear, some breathing space so that you can focus on the cups. You know, you can focus on around that time of the season. I think Carabao, I mean, if you get both cups, even better. Like Carabao and FA Cup, man. And
season.
Second or third in the league, Champions League quarterfinal, good season for me.
Now you're being greedy. Let me ask you this, man. A cup and fifth place or second place and no trophy?
I would only say a cup and fifth place if that cup is a Champions League.
So in other words, for you, second place, even if there's no trophy.
Yeah, second place. I think it has to do, you know, Champions League is a big factor, man. And the type of players you can attract. I mean, and the players that are still at your club, you know, want to play Champions League. Even if we don't get a trophy, got to get Champions League. No doubt. No doubt.
So when people used to laugh at Wenger about that fourth place being a trophy on its own,
yeah.
Remember, it's funny how now it's like everyone accepts it. But remember when he said it was like ridiculous, nah.
Yeah, ridiculous, etc. And now people go crazy for that fourth place, man. So Papa Wenger was onto something.
Yeah, man. And even in his worst years, we won 3 FA Cups in that last bit, huh? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did still win silverware.
Yeah, 3 FA Cups, man.
But that's the thing. I think that's what's happening to the Arsenal team now, is that you're a victim of your own success. Even though we haven't like had success in a trophy, but we've had successes in like, what a way that we've turned this team around from where we were to where we are now. Getting so close to the title and expected to actually be competing again week after week, to sort of having these wobbles already, that's a victim of your own success.
I want to know, like, what do you expect from us now to do in January, and what do you expect us to do in the summer to set us up for next season? Yeah,
I think in January, you already know what's going to happen. Another central defender is going to be coming in. Okay, jokes aside. Honestly, what happens in January, I think, depends on injuries. I don't think anything will happen on the defensive front unless there's outgoings, which also could happen. Maybe loan here and there, Zinchenko, Kivior, maybe, you know, sort of thing. Midfield, I think, won't be touched. Attack, I really wish something January, but I know it won't happen. I actually think nothing will happen in January. If I'm being fully honest with you, and looking at the way that we've operated, I really think nothing's going to happen. He's back. He's back.
There was a power cut. Sorry, man.
We're talking about how the lights are going out for Arsenal in January as well. HC thinks we won't sign anyone. So I want to know from you, man, what do you expect from this team this January and also in the summer to set us up for next season?
I think we need to set a target to like around the 15th of January. If we're out of it, it would just be a waste to buy, because we will know by then. I mean, Liverpool are 9 points ahead of us. I'm not going to say we're out of it. We're not. But if we drop more points and they win, I think even if they get 2 games on us, it's done. But I say, if we're in it, like in and around, we got to go for it. But if not, just let Luis Campos come in and we will just get to work with, back to the drawing board of who we want to bring in. And I think that in the summer, whatever direction that they choose to go in, I don't like this whole thing. I don't know, but it just seems to happen with Arsenal. Like it just drags out the transfers. But other teams, it's like with they link the next day, it's boom, and here it's like everybody needs to know our business. We're just waiting for that Ornstein Bamba. But yeah, get the signings in early, get them ready for training camp because I think that will also help them.
The season, if we sign in Jan, regardless, has to be someone that we're thinking for the next 3 seasons, right? If we can get them. And if we can't, we wait until the summer, no problem. I would want 2 players this Jan, but they're not coming. There's no way. But for me, we would sign Vitinha from PSG. We need a midfield player that has good technique and that can pass the ball forward, man. And for me, like, people are sleeping on Vitinha, man. He's a baller, man. I don't know if you even watched him play for Portugal. It's a shame that PSG didn't play well against Arsenal because I feel like a lot more Arsenal fans would have seen how Vitinha is like integral to that team. He, for me, was the best player for PSG last season. I think we need him, man. If we sign, for me, like a Vitinha and Isaac, which we want, I'm dreaming. But for me, like Vitinha and Isaac.
I think a summer target, especially if Newcastle don't get Champions League, we need to go for him. Even I would actually get Isaac more than Gyökeres, actually. If I had to choose between the two, I would get Isaac just because Premier League ready, played with Odegaard before, and he's hungry, man. I agree with you. Like, I think in that midfield, we need a guy who not only can hold it and not afraid to hold that ball for a bit, but again, able to make that pass, that killer pass. That's what we're missing, man. One question I'll put in is outgoings, right?
Yo, what a
Who would
question.
you have going? Because you also got to think about that, right?
Yeah. Yo, that's a great question, man. I'm actually scared of that because I'm like worried of the doom. Like Arteta got rid of some players and then immediately we got injuries. But I'm going to find my way to cheat the answer. I want that Sterling loan to be cancelled.
Terminated.
And I want
think
us
I got to agree with you.
to like get serious, man. I would rather give minutes to an academy player that we can develop into the future, or we go and get another kid on loan who is hungry. I'm sorry, like, don't see him like wanting to still push. I'm not afraid of selling anyone else because I don't want injuries, man. So I feel like we already have the thinnest squad in the league anyways, right? Remember, we went into this season with the least amount of players. Chelsea, I know they're crazy. We don't need 45 players, but like we need a bigger squad. So for me, I wouldn't sell anyone.
Now we do.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell anyone. I would just cancel Sterling.
You would keep everyone except Sterling.
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus?
Until
not
we
now,
have
but I mean
Isaac,
in the summer.
He has to stay.
Yeah.
Because we don't have someone else, Jesus, and we don't get anyone. You know what I mean? Like, for me,
no, 100%. No,
I think HC, before the podcast, you were talking about the Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson. In my opinion, it was time for them to go. I was calling for them to go because I just think that we outgrown them. And I mean, they were riding the bench. They're thriving now because they didn't get a good run of games here as well. We've also thought the same thing with the Nketiah. And like, we always thought, okay, we can't really blame them. No, but listen, we couldn't really blame.
He's not in the room anymore.
No, Nketiah is a bit different from Smith Rowe because Nketiah, there was a time that he did get a good run of games and he didn't do anything.
Hey, he made the England squad. He made the England squad when he got the run of games.
But it just was not enough to justify. Smith Rowe was absolutely one that didn't get like let's say 6 games consecutively. No, he didn't. He always came in bit part player, Reece Nelson, bit part. But now they get a lot of minutes, and I would also think that they would get goals because at the end of the day, these guys are professional athletes and they do score goals. But I just think that they just didn't serve a purpose for us. And that's where my gripe is, because if you're willing to let these guys go, you need to have adequate backups. And we don't have that. That position of Havertz at left 8 doesn't work, man. Like, it doesn't work. Fabio, 8. I'm not a guy that, as I say, am stat-based. I don't go of on, SofaScore at the end of the game to see heat maps and to see how many touches are I can see that he's in the wrong position. We had 49 crosses or 42 crosses the last game. He was, behind the D. He should have been in there. If you're a striker, a number 9, you're there to handle the ball. You can't be playing left wing, man. You can't be being dragged out there. So that's where my gripe is with the transfers, because we can all scream, we need these players, we need these players. But also if they're getting played out of position and we can all see it, it's either the coach is too stubborn to make a change, or I don't know what the hell, but we can see that something is not right. Something.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
just defend
Yeah.
Havertz. I, of all people, did not want him, but this season, Thomas Partey for sure has been like the best in midfield until we decide to put him on right back. But I think you're forgetting, Billy, that when Havertz was playing as number 9, him and Saka had a connection, and that's the only times we were scoring goals. So for me right now, I can't tune Havertz because he's actually scoring goals. So yeah, when he's trying to play the left 8, he's being asked to play 2 positions. He's playing like as a striker, but he's also the midfielder. Then he runs. So I get you. Gabriel Jesus gets asked to play 1 position, and he's not there to score the headers. You know what I mean? So at least Havertz does more, man. So I can't blame Havertz at all this season, man. But I really agree with you, like everything else you said, man, and about Nwaneri, the dips. Only thing I don't like you guys are saying is, please do not mix Reece Nelson with our homie, man, with Smith Rowe, because Smith Rowe has talent. Reece Nelson, guys, he's still out on loan. He can come back, by the way. But for me, I was already knowing we're gonna fail this summer when we didn't sell him. I don't see
but I
it,
read-
man, because guys, he is that talent. He was like one of the best academy players for us, right? But the guy has been his coming potential for like 6 years. We can't wait on his potential for longer. It's time now. I'm glad he's playing well. We need to sell him for good money. We need to reinvest. Like, think about it. We wanted Nico Williams, right?
Good money.
We wanted Nico Williams. Are you telling me you want to keep Reece Nelson and not buy Nico
You don't
Williams?
want to keep Reece Nelson, but he served
No,
a purpose.
no.
Every academy
Yeah,
player
exactly.
is going to make
He served the
breakthroughs.
purpose.
Reece Nelson will bang goals for Fulham.
I don't see it.
Emil Smith Rowe will bang
Let's
goals. but I don't
let's put a
think he will
let's
go-
put a wager on that.
Yeah.
He'll
Let's
make
wrap
I
it up.
have
Yeah.
This is what you were saying that I was going to say. The Havertz claim that you make, Fabio, I'm always going to say it. This guy is a German international. He's going to score goals because every squirrel will eventually find a nut. But he's not going to take us to the promised land. He's not. He's going to score the odd goal. He's going to do it because he is paid to do that. He's the highest earner. What we're talking about is going to win that trophy, and he's not going to consecutively score. Look tonight, so on SofaScore or whatever thing. When was the last time he scored a goal in a big game? He didn't show up, man. That is where we need that guy, that Nico Williams. That's where we need that Victor Osterman or Gutierrez. Those guys are putting him, they're banging, my man. But here we are. Man City.
I said Isak.
Not even Isak. That's fine. I don't think Havertz can do that for us. He's going to score, but he's not. Like him coming off the bench, number 9, I'd be happy with that. Bring Isak.
Isak has the number 14 waiting for him. And I think that's the number he would want.
We came into the league this year knowing that we were against the wall because we were this close, and Man City is not going to be giving it up. Liverpool, they're doing what they got to do. But I just feel that instead of us building, we're declining. We are, in my opinion. But there's a lot of games to be played, guys. A lot of games to be played. And perceptions can change. If they win this weekend and they put a run of like 2 to 3, and we will be sitting here like, yeah, guys, we're in it. But lose this weekend. If we do another podcast, man.
Guys, on that topic, we spoke about how Unai got it bad because he came after Arsene. Slot came after Jurgen Klopp for a long time. Huh? He didn't sign one player, and he's there. is delivering right now. So
I can't compare that to us though, like with Mustafi and nah,
We
come
were
on,
bad, man. We were bad. Horrible.
Konate and Van Dijk, you can't compare with Mustafi and who was it? I can't even
Do you
remember who
remember that
was
game before
Socrates.
the game before Arteta came in? We played Man City. I think we were 4-0 down at like 20 minutes. I remember I was at Mundo's watching. I walked out, man. I think they even came to me, hey, you didn't pay the bill. I was like, oh, I'm done, man. You know? Because I can't watch. You're not doing nothing. That's how we were, man.
all right,
Now we
guys.
got world-class defenders.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah, no, but I think if I know you don't want to hear this is the last thing I'm gonna say, but I actually kind of think that this season might be a write-off. And I think that also the owners might actually see it as that way. And I'm hoping that at least that an injection of serious like transfer activity happens. Sometimes you gotta just write a season off. I mean, Liverpool did that a couple of years ago, I think when Van Dijk got injured. And that season, they were just so bad with a lot of injuries that they had, and they just had to write it off. Unfortunately, I actually would be happy if we obviously you got to get Champions League. That's no question. And whether if it's Carabao or FA Cup, I think the players just got to have some sort of silverware. They got to lift something, even if it's Carabao or FA Cup. So be it. But we've got to go for it in the cups, man. We got to go for it. We can beat any team. We got to go for it in the cups. Strong team.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, doesn't matter if you're playing against Barnsley or like Nottingham Forest or Man City. Strong team.
We go.
Kill those games early, then put the kids, get that trophy. Get those cups, man.
So what I'm
let's
hearing,
see
guys,
what we do this weekend, man.
yeah, what I'm hearing, guys, is let's have a call. Let's have another call when we get knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Crystal Palace. Okay.
And Eddie Nketiah scores and celebrates with his stupid call home thing. Like, I lose it, but I'll lose it. I'm okay. I am.
It's written, right? Eddie Nketiah is gonna score, right?
Of course, they always do. Those ex-players always inflict damage on us on the first game. It's like always written. Always they do it.
That'll be a beautiful Christmas gift, man. Guys, thank you so much for today, man. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about the power cuts, but
All good.